This is the Dude Bros Podcast. This is the Dude Bros Podcast.
There is a problem with a particular new street drug that is giving people the urge to crawl under vehicles. So there is now an issue where you gotta look under them tires for some homeless dude first.
No.
Yep.
Is this
It's on the West Coast right now, but I predict it will be nationwide, and you'll probably see it in mainstream news by February, March.
is this some new hallucinogenic or?
This one's in Portland, obviously.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but it is indeed, in fact, a thing.
Boy, am I happy I never diddled with the hard drugs.
Right. There have been a lot of distractions in the media as of late. A lot of nonsense to make you look this way, that way, whatnot. There have been very important things that have occurred, and you haven't got so much media attention. And then there's also been some stuff that, well, without passing judgment one way or another, there's stuff that seems like you at least would see some coverage over and some people talking about. Like, are you aware of anything happening in Giza Pyramid area a couple days ago?
You know, I didn't have anything pop up in my feed about the pyramids.
Well, here. I got a buddy of mine.
Oh, good.
But they had this whole concert, ceremony, ritual thing there. Corresponded to some other interesting stuff on October 12th, astrologically speaking, of course. It's cool, but you would think something like this, for whatever angle you want to take, somebody would say something. I mean, look at the visuals. Look at the symbolism.
Cool. I mean, it is cool, but I also see it through another filter too. But that, if I'm just a guy that likes cool shit, that's how cool is that?
Yeah. Or I mean, but one interesting thing, the crowd's not dancing and jumping and moving
At all.
Yeah. You got a few people right here in the back coming in from the bathroom or whatnot, I guess. But yeah, everyone's pretty much just.
Who's up there in the middle?
Talking about the little ghost or the person?
Yes.
I don't know if that's necessarily the kind of commercial.
Well, you know, it's a good beat. Yeah, you would think that'd pop up in a lot of places.
Right. That's for, like I said, a variety of reasons. There's numerous angles. People, like you said, oh, this looks very cool, to tinfoil hat stuff, to historical stuff. I'm sure that's got to be some record or something too, you know.
Yeah, I think the telltale there is that most people are just locked in there.
Looks like people are starting to catch on a little bit. So here's an actor that you might have been familiar with some of his work you saw in your media a decade or two ago.
Does his last name start with a O?
He bears a striking resemblance to this former Antifa member, which also really resembles this ex-gang member. And then also this white Hamas terrorist.
Ah, weird. I'm familiar with this person.
Good actor.
Not a fan.
I mean, got a decent amount of credits, at least, we'll say.
Oh, yeah. Tells real good stories.
Oh, man. On the note of telling the stories, have you seen this interview here? Tucker Carlson, Sam Altman, founder of OpenAI.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Weird. So, in this clip, there's a certain point, I want to say it's around...
So you had complaints from one programmer who said you guys are basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wanted to murdered. What was that?
Also a great tragedy, he committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
Have you looked?
This was like a friend of mine. This is like a guy that, and not a close friend, but this is someone that worked at OpenAI for a very long time. I was really shaken by this tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to, read everything I could, as I'm sure you and others did too, about what happened. It looks like a suicide to me.
Why does it look like a suicide?
It was a gun he had purchased. It was this is like gruesome to talk about, but I read the whole medical record. Does it not look like one to you?
No, he was definitely murdered, I think. There were signs of a struggle, of course. The surveillance camera, the wires had been cut. He had just ordered takeout food, come back from a vacation with his friends on Catalina Island. No indication at all that he was suicidal. No note and no behavior. He had just spoken to a family member on the phone. And then he's found dead with blood in multiple rooms, so that's impossible. It seems really obvious he was murdered. Have you talked to the authorities about it?
I have not talked to the authorities about it.
And his mother claims he was murdered on your orders.
Do you believe that?
I'm not.
You just said it, so do you believe that?
I think that it is worth looking into, and if a guy comes out and accuses your company of committing crimes, I have no idea if that's true or not, and then is found killed and there are signs of a struggle, I don't think it's worth dismissing it. I don't think we should say, well, he killed himself when there's no evidence that the guy was depressed at all. I think, and if he was your friend, I would think you would want to speak to his mom.
I did offer, she didn't want to.
So, do you feel that, when people look at that and they're like, it's possible that happened, do you feel that that reflects the worries they have about what's happening here? Like, people are afraid that this is like...
I haven't done too many interviews where I've been accused of like...
Oh, I'm not accusing you at all. I'm just saying his mother says that. I don't think a fair read of the evidence suggests suicide at all. I just don't see that at all. And I also don't understand why the authorities, when there's signs of a struggle and blood in 2 rooms on a suicide, like, how does that actually happen? I don't understand how the authorities could just kind of dismiss that as a suicide. I think it's weird.
You understand how this sounds like an accusation?
Of course. And I certainly, let me just be clear once again, I'm not accusing you of any wrongdoing, but I think it's worth finding out what happened. And I don't understand why the city of San Francisco has refused to investigate it beyond just calling it a suicide.
I think they looked into it a couple of times, more than once as I understand it. I saw that, and I will totally say, when I first heard about this, it sounded very suspicious to me.
Yes.
And I know you have been involved in...
Was mother
you were asked
reached out
to the case.
And I don't know anything about it. It's not my world.
She just reached out cold?
She reached out cold.
Wow.
And I spoke to her at great length, and it scared the crap out of me. Kid was clearly killed by somebody. That was my conclusion, objectively, with no skin in the game.
And you got...
We'll stop that there. I will say, looking at Mr. Altman's face was kind of chilling when that one line there, oh, she just reached out cold. It was like, he was like, oh, she didn't do what I said. Yeah, like you literally saw a decision made in real time. Oh. Not allegedly saying whatever I'm saying. I think you absolutely saw a decision in real time occur. But once again, another thing that at any other point in time, I feel like that would be all over the place for the scandal aspect of it. People are drawn to that like flies to shit. And
just if nothing else, for the clicks for Tuck.
Yeah.
Why isn't that everywhere?
Yeah. I have seen a lot about old Trump being a big peace savior or something. Although just a few hours later, I saw that the IDF was shooting Palestinians. Probably can't put that in, but it is what it is. Yeah. On that note, drone warfare.
We're getting good at that, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on a few things in this channel before. We talked about OpenAI, talked about Saronic a few times, everything that they're doing. Last week's episode, we actually talked about the mega infrastructure projects going on in China. GB actually made the comment of, how are they doing all this maintenance and construction? People are in there. Well, it actually was mostly done with drones when I looked into it. And on the bridge itself, there will be docking ports for thousands and thousands of these, and they've got mail system that goes in and out of there, and the drones deliver all the stuff, and it's just very fascinating. But then I went more and more into it. I'm just trying to look into the future. See what people who live in the 21st century are doing. And so here is a 100% fully automated port in old China. You've probably seen this.
That's starting to catch on here. That's why all the longshoremen started striking, because they saw this coming. They had to get those guaranteed contracts in.
Well, how long are they going to be guaranteed for?
Well, until they don't need to be anymore, right?
We pretty much have every single major person in finance, major person in economics, major person in government, major person in NGOs, that's a broad spectrum, all saying things like massive depopulation event, or these kind of words that you hear, and why that's a good thing, because we have AI and robots to replace all of these tasks anyway. And so we don't need all these people, because we got all this stuff that can do stuff for us. We don't need the people to do that stuff anymore. Super cool.
So cool.
So messing around in the past life, we'll say, I got to see some cool stuff across the board, all kinds of angles. But if we're talking about drone technology specifically, I want to show you something that's called a Black Hornet, which has now been fully declassed and everything. But we'd do test of bravery, how close you can let the blades get to your eyeball and whatnot before you. Before you flinch out.
That one's pretty big compared to the ones I've seen.
Well, I'm just saying, this is
just funsies.
Well, this is also 15 years old too, but we also talked about Pakistan, India, China, and you'll notice, seemed like immediately after China, India agree, hey, medieval, let's tone it down. We got this big invasion from Afghanistan into Pakistan, only them Pakis, they turned around because they don't got to worry about this whole side of their country anymore. Just throw a few sticks over that way and we got good defense. So with all their resources already in transit to the Afghani border, they already had a counter-offensive mounted by chance. So I think at the last point in time that I checked, 9 of the Taliban bases in Afghanistan were captured and taken over fully by Pakistan. And they look to be moving in a conquering motion, which is funny because Afghanistan, we're going to surprise attack your bases and then we're going to respond and just keep going. You don't see that much,
Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that.
This
Shouldn't
is
have done
mine.
that.
This is mine now too.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Trump got the peace deal. He specifically said, now we have peace because Israel got powerful. We gave them great weapons, big weapons, huge weapons, the best weapons. And they, you got to be good to use them. You got to know what to do with them. And they're smart. They're good. This is not an exact quote, but an almost exact quote.
I mean, Bieber would call me so many times, can you get me this weapon, that weapon, that weapon? Some of them I never heard of, Bibi, and I made them. But we'd get them here, wouldn't we? And they are the best. They are the best. But you used them well. It also takes people that know how to use them. And you obviously used them very well. But so many that Israel became strong and powerful, which ultimately led to peace. That's what led to peace.
Scary stuff.
Scary stuff indeed. Did you see where they were interviewing him and asked him the heaven question, I guess?
What's that?
Oh. Weird. Another thing you might think would be a little viral because it is kind of scandalous or whatever, but they were asking if he was trying to do this stuff for Israel. he thought that was gonna get him into heaven or something. He's like, I don't think there's any way I'm getting into heaven. You know, nothing's getting me into. Here, I don't want to mess up the
You had talked a couple weeks ago, you were doing an interview, and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven. But
On that note, remember how we talked about how they don't fly on Air Force One?
No. Everybody sees them get in the plane, and then they.
I hear background noise. It sounds
you
just
hear
like,
the noise.
Yeah,
it's wind. It's
that's
obviously wind.
Plane. That's
They're at least
sky,
40,000 feet
sky
up.
noise.
Yeah, I've been in an airplane. That's what it sounds like.
I've been in a skybox before. That's the sky. That's the sound of the sky. Anyway, but looking at some of the footage of the initial invasion going through there, and I've got a few clips. This is from both sides there, but you'll notice American vehicles by Oshkosh, by Cummins, by Cat, for both sides. Like I said,
Well, somebody's got to sell the stuff.
just here are your toys. Go play.
Oh, yeah. I've researched history.
I've researched history.
There's usually one person or two people funding both sides.
No, dude, it's just spices and indigenous people.
And
In 1492.
Better go get my mace from Best Buy.
Real talk. I mean, I respect that. You know, there's like a dozen of those LARPers out there that just were like,
Oh, yeah.
I've been training my whole life for this.
Where do I sign, please? Okay, where's my stuff?
It's funny because there's still going to be some country bumpkin that just picks up a stick and just murders them with it because, at the end of the day.
Country boy will survive.
There's a song or something about that. This is pretty cool. This has been around for a while. I trained with it on a much larger scale. This is what they're now showing you as the prototype that they just came out with. But it's furniture that conforms to your environment, memorizes exactly what you want. So every little motion at any point in time to every elevation for exactly what you want and need. Couches, beds, tables. Look, it's flipping cards for you. Oh, the time you'll save there. That's a good one, actually. That's funny shit to me. But yeah, what do you think of that, man?
That's a big fucking do.
Well, I pointed this out when they were doing the military parade, and we were kind of showing the comparison between the United States and China. And they had just these little things, and you had Lima Yankee TAC 1 right on the side there. No real attention drawn to it. Nobody seemed to talk about what it is here. But these are some of the most advanced and compact directed energy weapons on the planet. They can do stuff as simple as intercept missiles, aircraft, theorized to be able to do the same thing for asteroids. They also conveniently can artificially induce precipitation in the atmosphere by ionizing clouds, creating dust particles for condensate to aggregate there. They just really cool stuff, and they were just parading them all out and be like, we got these mounted on everything now. And it's just,
I've seen Transformers.
but that really puts into perspective when you consider the gentleman's agreement that something happened, people looked and were like, yeah, we don't want to play anymore. We don't want to do this. We'll play pretend. This is your area. We get it. We'll be over here, and we don't need guns. We're just gonna be here. This is yours now. When we talk about robots, this is something that's terrifying. Now, this is a Swedish dude. He put this out here after utilizing the G1 humanoid robot. It's one of the Chinese really advanced ones. Doing all the cool flips, ninja stuff, all that, and was verifying that they are constantly sending out all information remotely to a Chinese server, obviously, since that's where the company's based, and kind of really highlighting, or at least trying to bring some attention to the fact that if we're going to be using this technology, there absolutely needs to be a way to ensure independently that there can be a, no Wi-Fi, no radio signal, that you can have the feature, the actual airplane mode, because your cell phones don't have airplane mode. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and it's just more and more of this stuff, and it's put out there and glossed over because it goes on to the next thing. But then we've also talked about a few things here that it's not even put out anymore because there's some low-hanging fruit out there dangling so much. It's like, oh, we don't even need to bother. Just don't even worry about rolling out the propaganda on this one. They're still eating that shit.
Right.
Idiots.
They do it because it work.
Well, yeah. You're talking about the tiny one. You're probably talking about like that. That's like a third the size
Mosquito?
of a fly. Yeah.
But I appreciated a video that came out about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a fake, obviously. It was like a studio kind of version, but it was a guy, he was pretending to be a techie guy up front, and he was putting on a spiel, and then he takes out this little thing. It fits right in the palm of his hand, and then behind him you can see the camera because it's got a camera in there. He's like, yeah, there's a half a pound or a gram of C4 in here, and he throws it up to the air, and there's a little dummy over here, and he's like, yeah, just typing on his computer there, and then flies around the room, and then
I thought you were going to go with...
It takes a team of highly skilled engineers to land a fly on somebody's head. We typically get hired to land a fly on high-profile political candidates during live events that are being broadcast to a large audience. You might have seen our work in 2016 when we landed a fly right on Hillary Clinton's eyebrows, or more recently during the vice presidential debate when we landed a fly on Mike Pence's head, and it sat there for about 2 minutes. The objective is usually to distract the viewer from what the candidate is saying, and more importantly, distract the media from reporting about what the candidate is saying and focus more on the fly itself. And let's face it, nobody remembers what Mike Pence said during those 2 minutes our fly was sitting on his head. We design and engineer all of our models in-house. Our first prototype was used in 2009 to land on President Obama's face. Unfortunately, he was able to smack it down and completely destroy our prototype, which was unfortunate because it was really expensive. But we plan to debut our next generation of flies in the upcoming and final presidential debate.
What?
In the upcoming and final presidential debate.
Did you remember the fly on Mike Pence's head and all that? Do you remember what he was saying at all whatsoever? So that's our next short. It will be airing soon. Hope you enjoy.
it's good shit.
But yeah, I got a good tie-in. So, in relation to, we'll say, that whole episode of the presidential show and the smackdown to get the title, if you will, I had mentioned that a certain song I was not a fan of anymore, and it's been somewhat ruined to me, and it's because of a Mike Huckabee. Yeah, now you know what I'm talking
now.
about.
I know exactly
yeah.
what you're talking about now. I was
We
singing
can't-
that when I walked
We
in
can't
earlier.
really put this in because this will absolutely get flagged for that. But if you know, you know.
Makes sense
Yeah,
now.
alright though.
Makes sense now.
Stuff like that though, it is a very high level of cringe. It goes beyond PR. It's not a PR person that stops you from doing that because your public perception is not what matters in that moment. You are doing something for a reason. It should be very eye-opening to people. But instead they... Oh my gosh. This is the image you're talking about when you're talking about
Yeah.
the 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old tech that were flaunting around or whatever. Yeah. Fun note, the TR-3Cs are pretty much in every spot of the United States that Lockheed Martin has a Skunk Works facility. So if you want to look, just look up because it is there. Same with the TR-5A. Now the TR-5A actually came out, this came out in the early 71s. I believe that's already been released by now. It was like 1971, 1972. But I want to say it came out in 71. But they say that it didn't have its first flight until 2013, which is, you know how that works. I could go down this, but we'll go further into that in a later episode. I need to make sure certain things are declassified before I fully put everything out there in that regard.
Yeah.
With the drones, or well aware of a technology that has also existed for a very long time, where we can use something as blunt as a EMP to wipe something and make a bunch of them fall, or something more targeted where we are using directed energy weapons to disrupt them in a variety of ways. Right now, as the global conflict or global series of micro conflicts are escalating increasingly, it's spilling over into other things. The next one will be a big financial hit coming up soon. You know, and then we've had our weather wars increasingly amp up. Really, over the last 15 years, they've kind of got bolder and bolder, but that's, once again, stuff that's all freely out there, all been fully declassified. Everything from Popeye, when we're over there in Southeast Asia, hey, we need to get by this bridge and we've tried to blow it up and we can't make it work. Well, you know what, let's just flood everything for a long time, and then all their infrastructure's gone. And yeah, so we did that. We've done a lot of things. We've absolutely been able to steer hurricanes, kill them, strengthen them, all that. What's interesting is now you have some hurricanes getting stronger as they go over land, which is not how that's supposed to work at all. We won't go too far into that.
Careful.
Like I said, but it's all open. There's none of that is conspiracy stuff. That has literally all been fully declassified.
I can pull those Google videos up right now. Yeah,
and numerous celebrities, talking head, the faces you trust, are telling this and saying this, but it's just people are locked in their little
that's
loops.
scary. That makes my day not so happy. Let me look at my lookity box.
Right.
That's, ooh, no, I gotta be in my little, ooh, no, scary.
On the subject of lookity box, you know, today, I believe, or it might be tomorrow, so by the time this episode airs, it will have been, MTV is officially shuttering all their stuff. They'll only have the one channel. There will be no music television on said channel. I think their biggest thing they're leaning behind right now is, it's what is it, Naked Dating in the UK or something. That's like literally the title of it. Yeah.
Just put Deer Dick back on there with the funny videos, for God's sake.
See, here's the thing. MTV at a point in time was, one, music television.
Right.
It was the medium through which a large portion of people were exposed to new kinds of music, to things that they had never seen before, because you're also getting a video with it. So you have this huge boom culturally.
Oh, yeah.
All this diffusion going across groups. And that's when you had a whole movement. Literally, that's where you went from Breakfast Club, where everything is ingrained cliques, ingrained social hierarchy, to a more fluid dynamic of things, where you have the gamer dude who's also a football player, where you have more of that showing, where it wasn't just the outlier. You know, and I think that really could be attributed to something like MTV. Doing something like we're showing art. Now, one could argue that they are still showing art, but I'm sorry, I think some naked dating show in the UK is not what is going to unite people culturally.
Is that going to bring the world together?
It's not breaking down any barriers at this point that haven't long been broken, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's your today I learned, your little factoid, whatever nugget you want to attach to it, but
That's sad.
Yeah.
I remember TRL. Even then, it was fun. You know, you had everybody coming on there. It was always hyped up on. You always had the good celebrity on there talking about the new song they just released, and you see the, you know, I grew up through that, and that was, yeah, it was a culture shift for sure.
So what's interesting is, if you're looking at it, really taking a step back, the kid culture that got kind of inundated and then maybe indoctrinated by MTV, transitioned into your Good Morning America culture. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
because that was the same type format. Like you said, you have your nice faces of celebrities, music, sports, whatever, that are coming in there making these appearances. You have your hosts who are the stable thing there, but they don't really contribute anything other than being the stable thing, as you're constantly cycling in this new stuff and keeping the relevant culture. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
And then what does that transition to now? The Joe Rogan people or something? Or now it's more dissected out, and I'm so far removed from a lot of that. I probably couldn't accurately say the best niche podcaster that lines up with it. You know,
It's just, I think the funniest thing about the viral clips now, whether it's Rogan or some other podcast or whatever, and pick a entertainment level, but it's like something that's getting 1 million views right now is a clip that he made 10, 12, 15 years ago. You know, this is old stuff. To your point about this information's been out for a long time, but, you know, enough click words and the algos go, so here comes Joe Rogan's viral clip from 15 years ago. Oh, look, yeah, this just happened. No, that's episode 6. He's on episode, 5,000 now? So, anyway.
you also need to understand the fact that shadow banning, things like that, really come into play there. So it might be that, yeah, this video is put out, but because this political party was in office for this period of time,
Right.
this is flagged. It doesn't get exposed to anybody unless they go directly to like that channel's page and search for it to find it, versus being organically shown it. And it could be something like that. Keyword is changed from bad to good in the category section, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody goes back through and they're cleaning some stuff out and they tweak it, or they're like, oh, that title sounds stupid, and they just reword it and inadvertently take out the word but, which is a flag word, you know, like
Weird.
stuff like that, you know? Blackstone, Blackrock. You might have heard of these things.
Yeah, maybe.
Are you aware of the next thing that they're really getting into and really saying, hey, we've already put our thumb in all the pies with this whole AI move. What's the next logical step? We need to purchase all the utility companies. So you got one of them trying to buy Texas, Nevada Energy, one of them buying, Minnesota Energy, and that's what's going to happen. You'll see Southern Power try to get snapped up, and it's just...
That there is...
terrifying. So that cool drone show that we showed or whatever before, well, we may have did a little attack when they did it this year, and it caused a bunch of fires everywhere. A lot of people got seriously hurt.
Here to have fireworks attached to them, and videos shared across social media show fiery debris raining down. Some people were seen using makeshift umbrellas to try and shield themselves from the falling sparks. The malfunction happened during a celebration of the National Day holiday. Good news, no one was injured when this happened.
Oh.
John's got a good reputation of nobody getting hurt or injured in these things.
Boy, do they.
Or everybody dying. You seen the water wrestling in France? Epic fail.
Oh.
Somebody watched Gangs of New York and didn't think it through, Like, what are you doing, man?
Oh, jeez.
So as we know, wrestling season, there's been some people, and I think everybody, that have some negative opinions about Triple H and the content that has been coming out as of late. We'll say. Yeah, a lot of people really don't like what they've been seeing. Although I will say, this past week there were some things that I did like. One of them being, you saw the Hardy Boys get the boots passed down to them and all that stuff. Which, some people are like, yeah, this is a group of 60-year-olds passing down their boots to a group of 50-year-olds, and they should have did this 20 years ago, Which... point taken, but also they're still performing, they're still doing their thing out there, and I respect a lot of that. So that is what it is. I did see a very cool heel turn, we'll say. I don't think it rivals any of the great ones that we've talked about. Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, heel turn, and Seth Rollins. You had a certain Paul Heyman hamming it up in the background. I love him, dude. I think
Paulie.
Yeah, I think that is a man right there that is,
driven. Absolutely driven, man. Paul Heyman.
And just a solid entertainer all around. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, you can make fun of people for doing silly things, but it really takes a tremendous amount of discipline
to be that character.
Yeah, to be that and hold it and maintain it.
And make it believable.
Yeah, especially if you have somebody maybe fumbling over their lines or you're waiting for this guy to get up. Mm-hmm. You might be for a full minute and a half or something.
And he'll do it.
Yeah,
man.
and that's what I'm saying. He will. He's
committed.
There are very few people that hold like he does, and that's what I'm saying. Hats off to
He's
you,
a true lifer, though.
Yeah.
He started young. He
was 1850, I think. No, but for real,
But he's been there for just as long as Vince has, as far as WWE is concerned, when it comes to promoting and being in the circles and rubbing this, being in those back rooms and stuff like that. He's been around for a long time. Love him, hate him, indifferent. He has been a phenomenal character.
Showman.
Very, very much so. He's very much got the top hat, and he hasn't gotten a lot of the credit for that because people think he's just the bumbling this. He's just a promoter. But he's a genius when it comes to this stuff, man.
I definitely think he's someone who needs to get Hall of Fame recognition. And,
without a question,
all of that. But he's also a person that you really hope that there's just one last little thing there at the on his deathbed. He's like, oh, by the way, I invented Bitcoin. It's just something like that.
I believe it too,
right?
Because it checks out. Because people don't realize how smart he is, and he's been laughing all the way to the bank. Because people don't realize how much he's worth. Really worth.
Right.
And worth can be monetary. Worth can be the information Worth can be worth can be a lot of things, and he's got a plethora of worth, especially in the wrestling world.
There's a reason some wrestlers, some performers have to, we'll say, recover from injuries for a very long period of time and get a huge paycheck, or maybe just get paid to not wrestle for a long time. And you know what? You don't look into those, and you just keep moving on.
Weird.
How our government works.
Isn't it still shut down?
Well, I think they're both the same thing, and that's, like I said, they performed this past night, so looks like we're still rolling.
Weirdo.
You can still gamble, you can still make money. Speaking of which, you saw Barron Trump set the record. He's now the richest 19-year-old on the planet from his crypto trades. Yeah, my Barron's really smart. Really, really good with the computers.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Mm-hmm. But back to the wrestling. They had just beat, CM Punk, Jey Uso, all this stuff. And maybe some hardcore fans out there going to judge me or whatever. I will say, for looking at it from the writing aspect, that is not the heel turn that I necessarily saw. So I would say that would go in the, hey, maybe the writing, there is something good there, something decent coming out, Or maybe this last episode, there was a lot more put into it because of the criticism the previous 2 weeks prior.
Right.
I've seen some very good clips from overseas. The Australian one, you already know I'm a Ripley fan. She's super talented. She's all around very cool girl. She knows what the game is. I think she will absolutely go for as long as she wants to go. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they're cheering for her. The next loudest and repetitive person that I saw get referenced and people really go crazy for was Edge. They drown out Triple H whenever he would try to talk. We want Edge! We want Edge! Unless there's a very personal thing going on there, I think we're going to get Edge back this season. It was pretty...
He's been trying to retire for 10 years, right?
Has he, though? First of all, I saw him in Vikings, which I don't know if you've seen the show or anything at all like that. I think he did a good job in that. He plays Shettle Flatnose as his character. You know, there's definitely a point in time where you absolutely get a callback to, oh yeah, I know what you did before this days, because he absolutely is that character, like channels that character all the way. You know?
Yeah.
But I've seen him in a lot of wrestling interviews, a lot of talking up and stuff, and I think he absolutely is addicted to it. And I do not think he is I'm gonna retire, go to my yacht, I'm gonna go to the acres and chill. No, he is, this is what I like doing, this is what I'm going to do.
And I think you're right, because his body is not in very good shape, and he's been very forthcoming with that fact. Like after every match, he has to lay up for a day or two minimum just to get his shit together, especially if it's involved and a good match. So I think he's 52, 54, you know, somewhere in there. He's in his 50s. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he's been the top guy several times throughout his career. You know, he's always been around, especially with the tag team, him and Christian. You know, that was the biggest tag team for a little while, and you had the Dudley Boys pop up, and then they were the rival, and then you had the Hardy Boys pop up, and they were the rival, and they were all passing the belts around because we loved them all. And I was never a fan of the early Edge stuff, the pretentious, take a picture, we're gonna freeze, take your picture, all right, we're awesome. You know, I was really happy to see that version of Edge lose, but
he had some good fails, we'll say. Some good, I forgot my lines, and it's very obvious moments. And, yeah, I won't go any farther. We'll save that for another episode. We probably need to wrap this one up, actually. It's been pretty long. Let's every time. Thanks for watching, folks. Episodes Monday.
subscribe,
Share, comment, subscribe, like, pop it, twist it,
flip it around. Hey.
Ебучий случай, блядь, НЛО какой-то нахуй. Блядь. Где?